When was the last time that you hired someone who was truly perfect for the job? It can feel like you are trying to find a needle in the haystack or that perfect unicorn who has all the right skills and knowledge and expertise and experiences. And the reality is that we pretty much never get everything we're looking for. So the big question is, how do you know what someone needs to really come in with on day one? And what are the things that they can learn or gain once they're in the role? It is hard to make trade offs between candidates, to assess their differences, and figure out exactly who the right person is when everyone is going to need something. So, by the end of this quick lesson, you will know how to differentiate between those skills, expertise, competencies, the things that someone really needs to walk in on day one to hit the ground running, and what are the things that you can hold off on and let them learn on the job. Welcome to the Modern Manager. I am Amy Camper Stewart. I'm so glad you've joined me today to talk about how to make a good hire by knowing what skills are truly needed. Every week, I share tips and strategies to help you build a strong and thriving team. Now, let's get to it. Every time I set out on a hiring process, I cross my fingers and I hope that I'm going to find someone who just is easy. I know that they have everything I need, they're the right person, and it's so obvious. But inevitably, that is not what happens. I find someone who seems amazing, but they're missing something, or I'm not totally sure if they have this other skill set. Or maybe I have two candidates who I really like, and they're very different. And one of them comes with one set of skills, and the other one has a different set of strengths. And I'm trying to decide between the two which one who's ultimately going to be more effective and more successful in the role. So the key is to understand what is truly required on day one. What does someone need to walk in the door with and be able to just go? And what are those things that you can invest in the person and allow them the time and the runway to gain those skills or that knowledge or that experience? So, to help you make that distinction, here are three questions that you should ask. What is the heart of the role? There's usually a long list of activities that we have packed into a job description, but when we get down to the core of it, there is usually a smaller set of activities and responsibilities that are truly the heart of the job. So when you can identify what are the skills, competencies, expertise, etc., that are directly connected to the heart of the job, those are the things you tend to want to prioritize because they're the most important. For example, I'm helping a team right now hire an executive director, and the group was debating about whether or not this person needed to have industry experience in which the nonprofit operates. And they were kind of going back and forth. And ultimately, where we landed was it was much more important for this person to have leadership experience because you need to run an organization. That's what the executive director job is all about. Now, if they didn't know the industry, that was okay because they could learn it. They could learn it through reading. They could learn it through mentorship with the other staff. They could learn it by talking to stakeholders, attending conferences. It's much easier to get up to speed on that than it is to really learn how to run an organization. And the heart of the job was running the organization. The second question you can ask is, what is difficult to learn or what will take a long time or a lot of investment in order to learn or gain? Some skills are relatively straightforward, and if you take a class or you read a book or you have a little mentorship or you get some hands-on experience, it does not take a lot of time, energy, or effort to build that skill or gain that knowledge. There are other skills or expertise that could take years to develop, even for those of us who are the most agile learners and are really dedicated. So, as you're thinking about what someone has and what they need, if something is going to cost a lot of money for them to get, if it's going to take a long time, you want to know, do we have the ability to invest in them in those ways? Is it something that we think that they can actually learn in the timeline that we need? Is it something that a class or a mentor, or we can even give them some opportunities to learn on the job? Are those things even available to us? Those are the kinds of questions you want to ask because when you can identify which are the things that are quickly learnable and which are the things that are more risky to wait and see, you can start to differentiate between what someone needs on day one and what they can learn on the job. The third question that you should ask is, what can we live without and for how long? Is there someone who can fill in this gap, whether it's a skill set gap or it's an expertise gap, while your candidate is getting up to speed in the role? Another way to think about it is, can we afford the runway that this person is going to need to get fully up to speed? So, for example, I recently hired a digital marketer to work with me on my team. And one of the things I loved about her was her experience with graphic design and caption writing and just writing in general and her strategic approach to digital marketing. She had so many great things to offer. But her video editing skills, while she did have experience, weren't quite up to the level that I really expected and wanted and needed for my team. But I was able to take a step back and realize that I could keep my existing video editing firm and have them continue to work on my videos while at the same time hiring her and giving her space to practice and learn video editing. It was a skill set that she could learn in a short amount of time as long as I gave her the space to do that. So that was a great solution. But in some cases, you're not going to have that kind of runway. You're not going to have the resources, or you're not going to have the access to the different team members or the different skill sets that you need to make it work. So you really need to consider, how much runway does somebody need, and how can I fill in the gaps in that interim period? Now, here's the thing. At the end of the day, the hiring process is your key to identifying what is someone walking in with on day one and what do they need to develop on the job. And then you can take that and use it to design their onboarding plan. Everyone should have a development plan at all times. It's not something you should reserve for only when people are poor performers. By building in a culture of growth and development from day one, you are signaling that your culture is one of growth and development, and you are helping this person understand what success in the role looks like, where they're coming in with their strengths, and where you know that they need to grow a little bit more and they need to develop, and that you are intentionally going to help support them to gain those skills, competencies, knowledge, expertise, experiences, whatever it is that they need so that they can be successful and they can contribute their best to the role. For more tips on how to be a rockstar manager with a thriving team and how to foster an environment where everyone gets to be their best self and do their best work, go to themodernmanager.com. And while you're here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and don't miss out on my latest video.